You're listening to Prosper in the Kingdom, the podcast where faith meets practical strategies to help you become healthy, wealthy, and wise. Join hosts John Cleaver and Wendy Lee as they share insights to equip you in your journey toward abundance, spiritually, financially, and beyond. Just a reminder, every situation is unique. The content of this podcast is for educational purposes only and should not be taken as specific financial or medical advice.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Prosper in the Kingdom. I'm your host, John Cleaver, with the ever-awesome Wendy Lee. And today we are talking about some exciting stuff, aren't we, Wendy?
Yeah, I actually really love this subject.
Yeah, it is. It is. And a lot of people just don't think about it. So today we're talking about your most valuable asset ever. And a lot of people are thinking, well, what is it? What is it? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not your money. It's not your house. It's not your IRA or your 401k. It's not your crypto. It's something every one of us are given. And a lot of us squander it. Most of us squander it. And that is time. The time that you have to make an impact. It's a non-renewable asset. You don't really know how much you have, but every one of us, myself included, when I was much younger, treats it like it's a never-ending asset, right? And you end up squandering away. I don't know if you can relate to that, Wendy, or if you have anything you want to kind of add to that.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought about, I used to say life is short, whatever, but I never thought about time as currency until I became an entrepreneur and actually put myself through some personal development and learned from Jim Rohn. And one of the things Jim Rohn talks about so much is the power of your time and being intentional, just like we talk about being intentional with our money. Like, you have to be intentional with your time, because it is the one thing you can never get back. When a minute is gone, it is gone forever. You cannot buy back more time.
Yeah, literally. And that's so true. That's so true. And you look at it from that standpoint. And I remember when I was young, and I think most of us go through this, especially when you're a kid, and you think you have so much time left, and the summers drag, or the summers go by so quick, but the school year drags and stuff like that, and the work week drags, living for Friday, and then the weekends blow by. I mean, it's the funny thing is, it's all perception, and bottom line, we're all given the same 24-hour day. And like you just said, I think that's great that you hit on that, was the fact that being intentional about your money. We talk about that, and I always kind of half serious, half kidding with my clients when we talk about us building a spending plan or a budget. You have to be intentional with your money, or it's going to do the one thing it knows, which is run away from you, right? The same thing with your time, and it's not that you have to be all work and no play. That's not what I'm saying at all, but it's really looking at, you've got 24 hours, you've been given this gift, you wake up in the morning, you've been given a gift of 24 hours. What are you going to do with it? Make an impact in your life, to make an impact in others' lives, to make your goals a reality, your vision a reality. And yet so many of us squandered. I mean, you look at wealthy people, you look at broke people, you look at your pastor, you look at the CEO, the stay-at-home mom. I mean, all these different people out there, and they all have the same clock, yet the outcomes are so radically different. And we can come up with a bunch of excuses. Well, I wasn't given you were given the same 24-hour day I was given. What are you doing with it? Yeah. And, I started, kind of what you were talking about, Jim Rohn and some others, and I started really kind of diving into it. And I think there's a song, it's like, what is it, 10,800 seconds in a day or something like that. It's a Christian song, and I'm probably hacking that up, all the pieces. But it really kind of puts it into perspective of, time is your currency of calling. You are so much more, and we're intended for so much more than waking up, getting in the shower, going to work, doing a job you hate just so you can pay your bills, going home and plopping on the couch and binge watching your favorite TV show. And yet some people treat it like, hey, I got time to do whatever. And the next thing you know, you look up and you're 40 or 50 going, what happened? what happened?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. Can talk to me? Talk to me. What do you think
Yeah.
about all this?
Well, I think just like anything, right? Just like money, you can invest it or you can spend it. And so with time, you can invest it or you can spend it. You can, and what I mean by that is like investing your time is, you know, we could talk about business, different things with your kids, whatever, but it's where you're putting value into the time you're spending that can multiply other areas of your life, you know, or you spend it just on, man, how much time is spent on distractions on cell phones right now or
Video games. Yes.
like, um, or just, yeah, distractions in general, back to Jim Rohn, one of his quotes, he says, days are expensive. When you spend a day, you have one less day to spend, right? Like you don't get more. So make sure you spend each one wisely. And that time is more valuable than money because you can always get more money, but you can never get more time. And, thinking about some very, very beginning of like even thinking about this awareness around this was somebody talked about like Tony Robbins and you have the same 24 hours in a day. What's the difference? Right. And it's like, it's because they invest their time. They're like, let me lean into where I'm skilled and where my time has the most value and leverage, others with, people, resources, systems, whatever, to buy me back, right? You can't buy more time, but you can, something as simple as, business person really busy and you pay someone to mow your yard or clean your house, right? Because that's hours that instead of spending doing that, you could be like, if you're a busy executive that never sees your kids, right? Don't make it where you have to come home and do all the housework and still not spend time with your kids because your time with kids is more valuable. So pay for someone to do that so you can spend more time with the people.
Well, and that's the reality of it too. And I know coming from lower income, growing up in a lower income household, it was always kind of do it yourself, DIY, fix it. And so I struggle with that even to this day. Still struggle with paying good money to somebody to do something I could do for myself, right? But when you start looking at the big picture and the perspective of it, really kind of carving that out and looking at what should I be doing with my time? And, kind of the first area I want to talk about, and we'll get to you made a good comment about you and Tony Robbins have the same day. What's the difference? And there's some excuses we throw out, but, number one, looking at what can I be doing with my time? Well, focusing on wealth building, right? What does that mean? Like this past weekend, I was working on a cabin, I've got some work I've been trying to do to it and I'm blocking it out and doing it. And I was sitting there doing caulking. I hate caulking with a passion, but I was doing it, right? Because I'm like, hey, I got to get this done and da 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 da. And I'm sitting here thinking about, hour 2 into the caulk session. I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm like thinking of all the things I should be doing in my business and stuff like that. I'm like, I should be doing that, not this. I mean, this is, like you said, this is work that I could be paying somebody else who that's their business. And I can be focusing on and maximizing my time. So that was kind of a lesson learned. But, in building wealth, let's get practical. If you want to build wealth, you've got to stop saying, I don't have time. Somebody approaches you for a side business, you got to stop saying, I don't have time. And let's face it, wealth is not built during your 9 to 5. Okay. You doing your day job, your 9 to 5, it's built in your off hours. Your 9 to 5 pays the bills. Your off hours is where your wealth move starts happening. That's what I did in my business and starting to build it. I had a job. I had sports I was doing with my kid. I was intentional about spending time with my kids, but I made a point to carve out time to start building wealth, whether it's creating passive income and I know you've done the same. And you look at that, that's biblical too. So, I want to dive into that a little bit. Proverbs 13:11, wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gains little by little will increase it. Again, little by little, starting to build and take those steps on building it. So, over the course of the past, when I first started working on my company, I had a job that I was working literally 50, 60 hours a week, right? And I started this side thing and now it replaced my job, but it took me a while to get up and doing that. It wasn't instant. It wasn't just add water and poof, you've got a business. It wasn't one of those get rich quick schemes, because there is no such thing as a get rich quick scheme, folks. You've got to lay the foundation, build a plan, and put the time into it. But that's the key. You've got to carve out that time and be intentional using your calendar. Everybody has, if you've got a Gmail account, you've got an awesome calendar tool. Use it.
Yeah. Yeah. I live by my calendar. I love my calendar. And one thing I wanted to, you and mention Proverbs, there's another scripture, Ephesians 5:16 says, redeem the time because the days are evil. But that word redeem means to buy back. So to treat your time like it's costly. And I just love that just mindset. Treat your time like it's costly, because it is. And what better way for the enemy, the devil and his demons, to destroy what could be an incredible future, ministry, lives impacted, all the things you're called to do. If, like, the enemy doesn't have to turn you into some hellacious sinner, right? The enemy just has to keep you. He knows
distracted.
For Christians, your soul's already bought with a price. Okay. So he can't have the soul. So what does he want to do is provide distraction for you to not be on track. And I'm preaching to myself right now too, to not be on track for the things that he's called you to do. I mean, I know I've had prophecy spoken over me of these things that I would accomplish in my life. And I believe them to my core, but I have to self-reflect sometimes and go, am I really doing the work? Because God's not going to just drop something in your lap that you're not working for, that you're not building for. And so is God really going to bring that if I'm wasting time scrolling social media or, playing games on my phone? Like, that's where we've got to be intentional. And just like we say, you have to steward the money God's given you, you've got to steward the time he's given you as well.
Yeah. And that's so true. That's so true. And focusing on, okay, I've got my wealth aspect. The second thing, and you mentioned earlier, was talking about, the side hustles. I found a side hustle, and, a lot of people go out and say, hey, I need to make some extra money. It's tough on a single income to make ends meet, especially if you're younger, starting out. So a lot of people pick up, an extra job. They'll work at a Lowe's on the weekend, or some big box store, retail during the Christmas, things like that. And that's the right idea. I think it's the wrong tool, and really looking at how can I exponentially, what's the end game for that side hustle? If it's just to make a couple of extra bucks, there are so many ways to make money. Prosper in the kingdom, for example, our format, our company, not the podcast, not the YouTube channel, but the actual company itself, we've got 5 different ways that our team is earning income. And the majority of them are passive. And so they're able to build in their own schedule, stuff like that. That's the stuff that I'm talking about. But I talk to people, and so many people are busy with the 9 to 5. They're locked in, and they know they want change, but they won't carve out the time and be intentional with their time to start something. And it doesn't have to be with us. I'm just saying, find a side hustle that you can get behind, that has great products, great leadership and training that you can get behind, and really kind of say, hey, I want to find out more about how I can create, extra income. I mean, let's be honest, your job, most people's jobs out there, jail operating as a business, right? That wasn't their dream that they had when they were younger. If you're working in a cubicle, yes, when you were 15, 16, what would you like to do in life, little Johnny? I want to work in a cubicle farm where I just look out and there's seas of these little boxes that we have to stay into and stare at a computer screen all day, with the boss ever demanding more and more work from me. Nobody ever had that dream, right? And, I'm being a little facetious there. But it's something that, the job isn't providing you extra time with your family. It's probably not providing you extra money. Are there ways for you to earn extra money this year? Maybe, probably not, right? And it's freedom, but why do we settle? Well, we start off little compromises here and there, and looking at, okay, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to put my dreams on hold, and I'm going to take this job to pay off student loans or whatever the case may be. And the next thing you know, we meet somebody, you start having kids, you got to pay for that too. And it's like, what happened? I'm 45 now. I'm 55 now. What happened to my dreams, right? And then we get so busy, and it's like at the end of the day, I don't have time. I don't have time. And that's BS. And I'm going to call it for what it is. You've got 24 hours. Everybody has. Knuckle up, brush the dust off, and let's get serious about going after your dreams and your goals. So I'll get off this pedestal there, the soapbox or whatever.
Using the excuses that I have no time is it's bull. Okay. You started a side hustle while working a full-time job. So did I. I was like, I'm on the road Monday through Thursday. At night, I can sit and watch Netflix, or I can build a business.
Boom. Thank you. Preach it.
Business, right? And if you take 3 nights a week, right? A few hours, 3 nights a week, 12 hours a week total. In the next 3 months, you can totally turn your life around. Yeah. I mean, you really can build something.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's what I've found out being an entrepreneur, there's so many ways to create revenue or additional revenue for people. But they won't do the work. They want to sit and just kind of, well, it's good enough. My life is good enough, mediocrity, right? And that is what the enemy attacks us with. Hey man, you got a good life. Why stress yourself out and do more? And that's the stuff that we listen to. Some people, hey, I get it. I'm going to level up, whatever the case may be. But, it's crazy out there. And, Deuteronomy 8:18, write this down, folks. Deuteronomy 8:18, God gives you the power to get wealth. There you go. It's there. But that power comes through what? Through stewardship. Not stewardship of just your money, but stewardship of your time through movement, taking action, right? Taking action, and through execution, making it happen, putting a plan together, carving out the time and making it happen a little bit at a time, just like working out. We talked about the whole point of this is to help people get healthy, wealthy, and wise. The healthy part, I had AI. I don't have a lot of time to work out. I don't like to work out. Nobody does. Some of you do, and that's great. Kudos to you. But I'm like, I want to get in and out in 30 minutes. Here's the equipment I have in my little home gym. He designed a workout 30 minutes. I can do 30 minutes. That's not even a TV show, right? So rather watch Netflix or whatever. And here's the cool part. I put a TV in my little workout room so I can actually walk while I'm working out, listen to it in the background or whatever. So yes. And here's the thing. A lot of people, well, I don't know how to do that. I don't have a degree in that. Let's be honest. College has become a freaking business in and of itself. And, I'm not going to get into all of that right now, but you don't need a degree to do something. You need a desire and discipline and taking action. That's all you need, right? So use that 3 nights a week, like when he was just talking about. Decide to build a business. That's 12 hours a week. You'd be amazed. I started my business with 10 hours a week. 10 hours a week. And I ended up firing my boss, not literally, but I quit my job to go full time in my side business. And now my time is my time. I work when I want to, where I want to, and with who I want to work to. And I apologize for the lighting. I'm having a little lighting issue going on in the background for those watching this on video. So you'd be amazed just carving that out 3 days a week. Look at what happens over the next 90 days. I challenge you, the listener, to be disciplined for 90 days, 3 days a week, building your side business, and watch what happens.
Yeah, I love it. And back to, I kind of already mentioned this, but purpose, right? Like our purpose is not just Groundhog's Day. And, and it doesn't also, I don't want to put it out there like we just mean hustle, grind to the bone, right? No, right. We mean like be intentional so you can multiply and steward well the time that you've given. And, God didn't just call us to survive, right? He called us to make an impact. And, and we've got to have first start with the vision, vision for our lives and what our calling is and what we feel pulled to. And if you're a Christian, I mean, I can just tell you straight up, your calling is to worship the Lord in your life and love people, right? Love God and love others, and lead people, point people to him, be a light for him, right? Obviously God can take you deeper into that, but some of us, we don't even make the time to pause before the Lord and reflect and figure out like, what is my purpose? Where can I add value? Where am I called to move and to go? And so, block an hour. Like, this is one thing we should probably do a whole show on, but the Sabbath, right? Like, now I know that's Old Testament rules and whatever, but there's a reason that God made the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh. We should, take that wisdom and say, we need to rest. And I actually put this in my calendar, and I haven't fully initiated it yet, but I want to do one day a week, at least one day a month, that I'm 100% electronic free and completely unplugged. And because some of our time sometimes needs to be on reflection and on planning, and on, rest for our brains. And so I would encourage you, if you're not doing a full Sabbath, block an hour every Sunday and, spend time in prayer and thought and journaling. Like, am I living in alignment with who I'm supposed to be, who I'm supposed to become, with the people I'm supposed to impact?
Well, and that's the big thing. And I love the fact you talk about your calling. And if you're not familiar with that, I'd encourage you to research it and figure out what your gifts are, right? Your spiritual gifts and things like that, because it's important. I mean, I saw a sermon from Billy Graham that, he really went into that, and it was powerful. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've seen some of his stuff, and I actually had a chance to see him live one time. But this sermon was really talking about, what your calling is. And it was not to get a 9-to-5 job and fill a position, because we get distracted on that, and then we get paycheck from that, and then we just start buying stuff from that. And that's not your end all be all, guys. And so it's really critical that you kind of figure that out. We'll actually put a link to a free, we have nothing to do with it. But it's a free link to kind of figure out what your spiritual gifts are and stuff like that, and really kind of start heading in that direction. And that's really, my dad always told me this. He's like, John, he goes, if you never want to work a day in your life, figure out what you're passionate about, what you love to do, and figure out a way to get paid for it. And I did. I love helping people on their financial journey, and that's not just the financial planning aspect. That's the coaching side that we do on business owners. That's working with people and helping them step into that entrepreneurial world, and really creating that platform where they can, march forward. Because what that does is that frees up money for the kingdom, frees up people from working dead end jobs and living, unhappy lives, and helping them reach the peak of who they could and should be in God's eyes. So, again, it's just that whole time and purpose piece, and making sure to, on the Sabbath, blocking out that hour of reflection time, and listen. Be still and listen. That's one of the things that I'm working with, and working on myself, because I'm like, ooh, it's like, let's go. It's like, no, you got to be still and listen. And that's hard. But as you do it, it gets a little easier. So, and then lastly, again, just own your clock, man. Take ownership on your life. Take ownership on your clock. If you don't master your time, hear me on this. If you don't master your time, somebody else will. Whether it's your boss or whatever the case may be, and you'll trade your time, that valuable asset that you have. You're going to sell it, and you're not going to get paid what it's worth, and you're going to end up with regrets at the end of your life. And I'm just, again, trying to help people avoid that. And if that's your path that you want to, hey, I'm good with that, so be it. But just know that you're leaving a lot of happiness and money on the table. Again, master your time or someone else. It's your employer, your distractions, binge watching TV. I mean, I almost don't like turning on and trying to figure out, hey, let's watch something tonight. And you turn on the TV. There's too many choices. It's like, there's so much. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to do it. So, go read a book or something like that. But get out of your comfort zone too. We come back with that. It's good enough. My income, it's good enough. I make a good income. My job, it's good enough. My boss is cool. I don't have to, sweat it. But again, is it what you were intended to do? Are you performing at peak? And I'm going to say, for the vast majority, and I'm talking 90% plus, the answer is no. Stop accepting it. Take some action. So give us some action points, Wendy, as we close.
Well, I think, most people feel that like inner stirring, like, I know if you say to yourself, I know I'm called for more, like, lean into that. Now, if
That's the Holy Spirit convicting you right there.
And listen, I know that there are some people called into positions that are in an office job and that God's using you there. And so we don't mean that but if you're that person that has that stirring in your soul, like I'm called to more, don't let time be an excuse not to move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, learn to take hold of your time. You had mentioned, just like getting rid of distractions. We put music on, we put audiobooks, even me, like I sometimes I just need to stop everything to listen. You use that word, listen. I drove 2 hours a couple weeks ago. I can't even remember when it was, like a week and a half ago. I don't remember where I was going. I go so many places, but I was driving by myself and we drove to New Jersey. That's right. We drove to New Jersey. So it was a lot of hours. It was 12 hours. And my kids had their headphones if they were doing their devices or listening to music. And I literally drove 12 hours and never turned on the radio, never turned on a podcast. When it was quiet, I was like spending time with the Lord in my mind. And I'm like, here I am. Like, there's no excuse not to just like spend time thinking, dreaming, praying, all those things. And I think sometimes we just need to turn down the noise and get really clear about where we're going, and then build your time, your calendar. Like John said, let your calendar run your day, build your calendar around that. And, it's about owning your 24 hours, it's the precious thing that it is. Right. With it, you can build your wealth, your freedom, you can find purpose. And so,
well, and that's, in going back to that calendar, that's also putting time for personal time, putting time for your family, your kids, right? So it's not just all work and no play. But again, maximizing every hour is making sure you're getting a full night's sleep, right? You're not trying to get by on 5 hours, the healthy and mental health part. But, really leveraging that precious gift called time, because one day your time is going to run out. And you don't know when that day is. And, I'm at a point in my life now where I have, several friends of mine that I kind of came up with through the years that are no longer with us because of accidents, health issues that came up, at a young age or whatever the case may be. And, the last thing you want to do is have regret of not doing something, not accomplishing the things you want to accomplish because you think you have so much more time. So, with that, again, be intentional with your time, folks. It's a very precious gift, the most precious asset you have, and it is very limited, and you don't get any more. So make sure you're maximizing. If you got some value out of this, please do us a favor. Click that little like button down below. Give us a heart. Give us a share. Share this on your social media. We'd greatly appreciate it. Love to see the comments. Agree with us? Fantastic. Disagree with us? Fantastic. We just want to get some communication, interaction going on more so than we've got today. So if you've got an idea that's something you'd like to hear, let us know on that too. And if you need help, hey man, you're right. I've been listening to you guys. I really want to get my financial house in order. Do us a favor. We'll put the link in safemoneyroadmap.com. Go out, fill that out. We'll give you a free financial plan. Do something with it or not. That's completely up to you, but at least get an idea, get a plan of what to do next and have that direction that you're heading in for you and your family. So everybody have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday on another Prosper in the Kingdom, and make it a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Prosper in the Kingdom. If this episode added value to your day, be sure to like and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with someone who could use the encouragement. For more resources, head to prosperinthekingdom.com. Let's continue building lives of purpose and abundance, one step at a time.